they incur more of the wrath of God. If you want the wrath multiplied, then stand against the word of the Lord. And then you will see what God can do for you. He can give you your just reward and beat your brains out. So, anyway, a lot of people are confused on this issue of prophecy. They think that all prophecy is running around blabbing about future events. Yay, yay, yay on Christmas Day. This is going to happen. Or yay, yay, yay on May 13th. Sally Jones is going to fall down at the crosswalk.
Hello everybody, welcome once again to God on a New Level. I want you to be encouraged because God has come for your words. Really, not just God, but His servants that serve Him, those angels that are waiting for your decree. In fact, I want to share with you something that happened in one of our Wednesday prayer services. Brenda, you would probably remember, it was so powerful on Wednesday. And they always are powerful on Wednesdays.
But this was one of those times when the glory just fell.
God's presence was so strong. We were praying, and all of a sudden, my wife Brenda, who I love to hear prophesy, began to prophesy that the angels of the Lord were coming for our decrees. Well, you know what we did? We began to decree, because if God's saying His angels are there, then we want to make sure that we give them something to work with, so that we can receive the blessings of God over our lives. So that's what we're going to talk about today, but I want you to hear a powerful prophecy that came forth about the angels of the Lord coming for our decrees. Are you ready? You're going to be blessed.
Even watch right now, for even over your head the heavens are opening, over your head the heavens are opening, and the angels of God are ascending and descending, and they're moving among you, and the Spirit says, I'm making you this night an arrow of deliverance. I'm making you an arrow in my hand, and watch how I'll use you as my arrow, for it is a night to decree a thing, and it shall be established. So what you speak, says God, by faith, it shall come to pass. What will you decree over your life? What will you decree over the city? What will you decree over the nation? And what will you decree over your money? What will you decree over your health? For the Spirit said it's a night to decree. And oh yes, and you shall decree a thing, and it shall be established in a moment of time, in a blink of an eye, faster than you imagine. For God says, even decree over your loved ones this night, for my hand is open, the heavens above you. My hand is open, the heavens over your head and over your mouth, for it is the night to decree a thing and watch it be established. Glory to God. That was so powerful.
No. God sent His people for what reason? Sent to His people, the prophets, for what reason? To cry out against their sins. To cry out against their sins. Oh, everybody loves the gooey prophet. Yea, 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 little children, you are just like sweet chewing gum to me. Yea, little children, I have pudding and pie and lovely little gifts for you. Yea, 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 little children, though your teeth rot out and your bones decay, and you're insulin-dependent diabetic, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, because I'm not with thee even now. Yeah. You like that? No, but the truth of it is, people have gotten so goo-goo loved, they don't dare receive the counsel of God. And even now, when God is making it obvious that He's sorely displeased with the nation, that He's sorely displeased with the whole world, but particularly this nation, because this place was the house of God. Was the house of God. was the house of God. And it says judgment must begin at the house of God. And God is judging and judging and judging. And people are so fat, so thick, so dull, so gorged, they can't perceive it. Now, one of the definitions of this word fat was gross, dull, and stupid. Dull and stupid. Okay? And then the word thick, it also means stupid, dull, and heavy. And gorged means to eat gluttonously and swallow greedily. I'm going to have to watch my swallowing. Do I swallow greedily? I think swallow greedily means when you just engulf your food and it's never chewed. Guess what? I looked in the toilet and there was a whole piece of... going on here. But the point I'm getting to is that we can get so dull and stupid because we're living in the flesh, we're living in the carnal realm, we're living for self, that we are unperceptive to God. So we need to stop that. We need to get our awareness heightened to where we can be easily accessible by God. Amen. Now it says here that the Lord saw it, and He spurned and rejected them out of indignation with His sons and daughters. And He said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end will be, for they are a perverse generation, children in whom is no faithfulness. Okay, that sums up where America is living. Children in whom there is no faithfulness. Now, when you see what they're doing out there in churchianity, in religious Babylon, in the brothel population, what do you see? There's no faithfulness to God. There's no faithfulness to God. They're running after every demon, after every trinket, after every bauble, after every enticement, every seduction that Satan offers. Huh? I mean, they'll put on circus acts. They'll get down and, vibrate on the floor like demons. Huh? I can't believe what I've seen. Here several, maybe a couple of years back, we saw all these movies on rap music, and they were showing how these guys do all these flips and these contortions of the body, and they do all this vibrating up and down off the floor like they're fornicating with demons, the humping motion and all that. I mean, it's true. And in that visualization, now we've seen some of the Kundalini manifestations in the church. Same thing. Exact same demons. And these boys, these young men that get possessed of those rap devils, will tell you point blank, if they're honest, something comes over them and they don't even know how they can do what they can do. What comes over them? Demons. See? So the church, in her whoredom, in her harlotry, has opened herself up to every strange demon god that's imaginable. And she's just become totally lacking in faithfulness unto God. See, we're supposed to keep ourselves for God. So what that means is we don't open ourselves to demons. We don't even open our minds. We don't open our ears. We don't open our bodies. We don't open our hearts. We stay faithful and true to God. Now we're living in a time when harlotry has covered the land. You think it's not true? Every young girl wants to be a hooker. A hooker. A hooker is a whore, a prostitute, who decks herself out in order to lure men into her deception and takes pay for it. Now you think, does a young girl want to be a teacher? Does she want to be a doctor? Does she want to be a missionary? Does she want to be, an evangelist? Does she want to be a prophetess? No, she wants to be a hooker. I know we had this young girl come here and, she just was so excited, and she was telling some of the other members, they were spending the night, her and her parents, she said, Oh, you guys just can't wait. Tomorrow I'm going to wear them to service. Wear what? She said, my hooker boots. Her hooker boots. These real tall, spiked heels, high heels, with her skin-tight breeches, to come to a meeting about God. And her parents hadn't even corrected her, instructed her to bring some clothes that were modest. And she was beside herself that she could wear hooker boots. Well, guess what she is? You figure it. But the point I'm getting to is that when the land is covered in unfaithfulness to God, then the women manifest it. Now you go back and you look at photographs or even footage of when women carried themselves in a modest apparel, and they were not flaunting themselves, they were not trying to look like they're Mrs. Seduction on every point. That's when the nation was faithful to God. Sure, I know there's always been sinners. There were sinners in Israel. But for the majority, the nation respected God. And the women depicted that faithfulness. I know when my mom and father got a divorce, he was an adulterer and a drunkard and a wife beater. But when they got their divorce, it was a shame to be divorced. And you take on a poor woman that ends up divorced, takes on a whole different aura in those days of, okay, she's no longer respectable. She's no longer considered a decent citizen. She's got a whole stigma on her because she's divorced. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily fair or just, but what I'm saying is because faithfulness was such a part of the culture that someone who broke the vows of marriage through divorcing was considered an outcast. Now, if you even get married, you're some kind of big-headed fool. Just shack up and pack up. Huh? Which means just sleep around and do your thing, and when you get tired of it, pack up and go to the next one. That's the truth. Shack up and pack up. Huh? So, what does it prove? It proves the land has no faithfulness, number one, to God. Because how we treat God in a culture is how that culture is shaped. You look at the youth of today, they depict nothing but death. They just look like deadbeat scroungers that have been pulled out of, caskets that have been in the ground for 6 months.
And he had a, God told me to lick him, and I licked him.
And they're just lifeless. And they always got to have something stuck in their ears, hanging around their neck. And you try to talk to them and they're just, say, gosh, I've heard they've even put weights on their faces to pull their eyes down, where they'll look sadder. But what I'm saying is all of that depicts how we feel about God. Because we've grown dead, fat, dull, thick, gorged. Look at the kids. Look at the kids. They're dead too. They don't have any life to them at all. Lazy. Okay. So when they forsook God and they despised the rock and they provoked him to jealousy with their abominations and they provoked him to anger and they sacrificed to demons, God rejected them. Can you blame him? They weren't reflecting any obedience unto him. They were sacrificing to demons. They weren't sacrificing to God. What do you give your time to? What do you give your eyes to? What do you give your talk to? Is it demons? Come on. Is it demons or is it the Lord? Is it demons or is it the Lord? You know, we're supposed to modify ourselves. We're to modify our apparel. We're to modify our speech. We're to modify what it is that we think about, what it is that we look to, what it is that we find entertaining. We're supposed to modify it to come in to cooperation with God, into obedience with Him.